Today I'm going to show you my attempt at a spice bag. Some of you may know this already, but this is an Irish version of Chinese takeaway or takeout, and I'm here for it. I think it's going to be good. Okay, so here is what I did a quick search of what a spice bag is. You can pause to read. And you can call it a spice bag, a spice box, and it has been available in Chinese takeaways and fish and chip shops since the 2010s in Ireland. And that is news to me, but I want to try it. I managed to look through different social media platforms. I Googled it. As you can see, there are a lot of YouTube shorts on spice bags. I found an article in the Irish Times, and I used this as a resource to come up with the ratios and ingredients for the spice seasoning mix. Apparently, if you are in Ireland or maybe even in the UK, you can get pre-mixed like seasonings from the grocery store. I don't have that readily available in my local grocery stores here in Texas, but I'm using this as a guide for the special Chinese spice salt that goes on this. Okay, so here I have a bowl, and I did have these ingredients, which is why I'm going with this one, but there are so many out there. I'm just going to try simple first. 2 tablespoons of flaky sea salt. It actually called for coarse sea salt. Here I'm going to use crushed red pepper flakes. And I have some Chinese 5-spice, a teaspoon going in. I always like to say ratios are up to you, so do that. And now I'm going to be using 1 teaspoon of white pepper. And that's it. I did see some where I think somebody used Cajun spice seasoning in the mix. I mean, you could do that, but I'm going to give this a mix, and I'm sticking with this today. This is my first time trying this, so I'm going to stick with simple today. But definitely do your own research and, see which one works for you as far as recipes go. Okay, this is mixed. I'm going to prep my chicken. I have 2 chicken breasts, maybe a pound of chicken works. Here I'm going to cut this lemon in half and use half of the lemon juice for the marinade. And I'm just going to cut the chicken into slices. Now, I did notice in some videos they called the chicken like shredded chicken, but it's really just thin chicken strips, just like this. So now I'm going to add some onion powder. I'm just gonna maybe shake on a half teaspoon. Some garlic powder. This is granulated garlic powder, a half teaspoon. I'm also gonna squeeze half of that fresh lemon in here, maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons of fresh squeezed lemon juice. And I'm also going to add like a half teaspoon of this spice bag mix that I made earlier. And now I'm just going to combine and mix well. And that's it. That's what I'm using to season the chicken. Once I combine this, I'm going to refrigerate it and marinate for 30 minutes. Okay, so I am going to work on the curry sauce. And I'm using a bag of mild curry powder. Here I'm working with some golden raisins. And I also will be using half of this large apple. You could use the whole thing. And I have a small onion that I'm going to dice and chop. Okay, so here's what I wrote down for my research. I call it Don't Come For Me Irish Curry Allegedly. So these are some of the ingredients with the exception of the ground coriander because apparently I don't have any of that in my pantry. So in a small pot, gonna turn on the heat, and I'm going to start to saute my apple and onion together. So into the pan, and I did add some cooking oil. I'm gonna saute that. You wanna do this over medium heat, don't burn anything. Okay, now going in with the apple, and I'm just going to saute this for several minutes until things become softened and translucent. So I'm working with some golden raisins. I just scooped like 3 tablespoons, 2 to 3 tablespoons of raisins. I didn't count them. Here I have paprika. I'm also going to add some chicken bouillon powder. I have some turmeric. This is ground turmeric. Am I saying that right? Here I have ground cumin. I'm also going to add 3 tablespoons of that mild curry powder mix. And then just give this a mix. Doing this with the dry spices will sort of wake them up. It'll warm them through. And I forgot I added some granulated garlic powder into the mix as well. You could do fresh minced garlic. I just thought I'm working with powders, just add the garlic powder. Okay, so this is going into a blender. And now what I'm going to do is, actually I need to get some of that out. I have some stuff left here on the side. I want that in. So leave the pot there because I am going to use it later. But now I'm going to add 2 cups of water. And if you don't have bouillon powder, just use 2 cups of low sodium chicken broth. and I'm going to puree this very well. Into the same pot, I'm going to add 2.5 tablespoons of cooking oil and 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to cook the flour for over a minute, and this is going to create a roux. This is going to help thicken the curry sauce. So give that a mix, and once it's like this, I kind of switched to a whisk at this point because now I'm going to add in that puree, and I'm going to pour in half of it, and you want to combine this with the roux so you get rid of any lumps. And then I'm going to pour in the rest of that puree, and you'll want to taste for salt and seasoning and to adjust to your preference. After I tasted it, I looked at some other recipes and they called for tomato paste, so I'm adding like a tablespoon of tomato paste. But if you are going to add the tomato paste, I suggest doing so when you're frying up the onions and apple. You kind of want to saute the tomato paste to bring out flavors, but this will work in a pinch. So I'm going to combine well, let it simmer for a little bit, thicken, and then it's done. And here I'm going to add some salt because I think it did need some salt. You could also add some cracked black pepper into the mix. And this is the curry sauce I'm working with today. Is it authentic? I don't know, but it tastes good. Okay, on to the coating for the chicken. Here I have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add like half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to shake in some onion powder, and I'm going to give that a mix. You can season your flour drudge however you like. I'm going again with just simple. Okay, so I'm going to take my marinated chicken, and what I'm going to do is crack 1 large egg right into the bowl, and I failed at this because I did it with my left hand, and the shell went in there, but just take that out, and then I'm going to mix that up and coat the marinated chicken just all together. There really wasn't a lot of lemon juice left, so it all works. Okay, now what I'm going to do next is just add a couple of tablespoons of that dredge to sort of thicken that egg to kind of coat the chicken well. And that's it. And now what I'm going to do is just take each piece of chicken and dredge it into that coating. And then from there, it's going to go into preheated cooking oil. You want to preheat your fry oil to around 355 degrees Fahrenheit and just add your little chicken strips in there. And what I'm going to do is double fry this. So this is the first fry, and I'm going to let this fry up for about 2 minutes because it doesn't take long to cook chicken breast. And I'm going to place it on this wire rack. And at this point, I want to take it out. Now it doesn't look like that golden brown color or that golden color. That'll come when I do the second fry because that'll ensure that it's crispy. You don't have to double fry your chicken, but it's just a method to use to make sure you get crispy bites of this chicken. Okay, so let the oil come up to temp and then add the chicken right back in. And I'm going to let this cook for another 2 minutes. And when that's done, you take it out and repeat the process for the rest of the chicken. You'll have to do it in batches. Okay, I'm using golden steak fries, aka the chips in this recipe. Okay, so take the chicken out because it's done, and see how it got that golden color? It smells great, by the way. And I'm just going to place it right over here. I also will be adding just a touch of that spice bag seasoning mix that we did earlier. And I have to taste one. It's so good. Ooh. Now for the fries, going in, and careful. You want to make sure your store-bought fries go in frozen. Don't thaw those before you fry them. It really does change the texture if you do that. Okay, I'm turning on the heat to this pan, and I've added some fry oil. What I did is I just scooped out some of that fry oil right into this pan, and I'm going to saute a red bell pepper, the whites of scallions that I cut long, and some sliced onion going right in. I'm just going to saute that very well. In some of the recipes, they do call for like spicy fresh chilies. I didn't have that. I really didn't want this overly spicy since it's my first time, but I will add some of that spice bag seasoning. I'm going to do that throughout. Is that correct? Comment down below if you are Irish or have had spice bags throughout your life. And is that right? I don't know, but it seems right. So everything is fried. And I've used every pan, fork, whisk, knife, cutting board that I own, and it's all in the sink. Yay for me. Let's move that knife. That's kind of scary. So these dishes await me, and it's just going to be super fun, but that's okay. It's all worth it for the spice bag. I have a paper bag with some parchment paper in it just to give it that spice bag feel, like that street food feel. And I'm going to add my chicken and these very hot crispy fries. And what I'm going to do next is just scoop in some of that sauteed bell pepper onion and spring onion or scallions. And like I said, fry up some chilies. And I'm going to add the green tops and shake in a little bit of that spice bag mix seasoning. Give it a shake. And then I'm just going to put it on a plate, rip open the bag, and dig in. I suggest you do the same if you make this. And this is wonderful. I will totally make this again. I have seen videos where they pour curry sauce on it, but to try the curry sauce, I'm just going to dunk at first because I'm a textural person and I love crispy things. So dunking is the way to go for me. And check this curry sauce out. It tastes so good. I'm definitely going to keep this recipe for a good chip shop chippy tea curry sauce. So good. So I'm going to pour over the curry sauce just to show you another way, and time to dig in. So I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.